All right, let's do some myth busting on today's video. So one of the predominant things that you hear about, and you've seen it on my channel since I started these street defense videos, is okay, we're in a self-defense scenario and I'm gonna square up with this person and I'm gonna utilize this clinch or I'm gonna use this strike. But let's face it, the number one thing that most people who are trained fighters or fans of fighting but have never really fought before in the street don't take into account is the element of surprise. That's such a huge thing. So what I want to talk about as being the one myth is you can train for your whole life and have perfect sumegeshis, have perfect back taking ability, have perfect boxing technique where you're able to pivot, angle, perfect discipline with your head positioning. None of that really matters if the person blindsides you, or has a weapon, or has 25 people that blindside you. So the one thing you always want to keep into consideration is how can I do my best at taking away the element of surprise? You can't always do this, but there's certain things that we can do to help mitigate against surprise. For instance, how many times have you walked down the street and been on your phone checking your Instagram, checking your Twitter, or whatever it is, texting somebody? These are things that are very, very common, right? These are the things that I suggest against. When walking in the street, I think it's a big, big problem if you're constantly finding yourself looking down at the phone and checking your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, etc. These are opportunities where burglars or people that are thieves are gonna prey on you. If I'm a thief and I put myself into the mindset of a thief, I'm looking for the person that's looking down on their phone that may be a little small or a little frail, a female, and I'm looking to snatch their pocketbook or sucker punch them, whatever it may be, when they're most vulnerable. A predator is always gonna take advantage of their prey when their prey is most vulnerable. They're not looking to fight their prey head on. Even if they have superior abilities, they're looking to take advantage and take the path of least resistance. So these are things we have to consider. When you're walking down the street, fight the instinct to look at your Instagram. Fight the instinct to look down and text. These are situations where a person can take advantage of you. Some other things we can consider. You ever walk down the street and have your headphones on? I was guilty of this for a really long time. I would walk down the street and I would constantly have my headphones on. I'd be listening to music on my way to training in New York City. And this is one of the worst things you can do. You find yourself putting your headphones on, immediately take them off. What you're doing in effect is you're taking away your natural evolutionary biological ability to sense your surroundings through auditory senses. We've evolved over the past however long to develop the ability to go, I hear rattling in a bush, that's a snake, be careful by that bush. I hear a rumbling, I hear a growling, that's a coyote, that's a bear. These are things we've developed over time, and we've taken away that ability to sense our surroundings through our hearing by clogging our ears with sounds, right? Superficial sound. And I'm not saying don't listen to music. I'm a musician myself. I love music. But when you're in public and when especially if you're in areas that are very dense, I would suggest taking your headphones out and avoiding that, so that in the event that I can't see someone that's going to try to cold cock me, I may be able to hear their foot stepping by me that can preempt me to slip my head back and I miss just by a hair, right? These are things you got to consider. Remember that the element of surprise is what's going to get the job done on the street. It's not a one-on-one confrontation. Although I do teach these self-defense tactics, because they do happen, chances are the person's going to try to get you from a blind sight. People headbutt you when you least expect it when you're in conversation. They look to punch you on the side of your face. It's called sucker punching. They're going to do that. Sucker kicking. This is common too. So let's eliminate the element of surprise as best we can, and let's take away that predominant advantage that a person or people are gonna have by sucker punching you. Surprise, big right hand, big headbutt. These are things that people are gonna do. So you have to figure out ways to take that away from a person. Take your headphones out, pay attention to your surroundings, and get off social media, okay? So that's number one. Number two is this idea that a predisposed combination of punches, or a kata, if you will, if you come from a karate or traditional martial arts background, some sort of predetermined thing is going to help you in an actual street fight scenario. Although it can in some instances, most of the time it really doesn't. What you have to take into account is the idea that fear is going to be a giant factor, okay? So if you've never fought and someone sucker punches you, what's the first thing that happens when that happens? When someone sucker punches you? Do you shoot a double leg right off of that? Do you hit them with a spinning back kick immediately? In most cases, when someone hits you and blindsides you, if they don't knock you out, is you freeze. You actually don't do anything. Your first instinct is to grab your face and it's not that you're a pussy or that you're a fearful person, you're weak. It's that that's never happened to you. So If it's an alien experience, you're gonna have an alien response. Like, what the fuck is this? So you're gonna grab your face, you're gonna look shocked for a second, and then's your opportunity to respond. But what about if they're already gone? What about if they sucker punched you, grabbed what they need, and they're gone? You froze. So I'm not saying that training jiu-jitsu, which I do, you know, for the better part of 20 years, I'm not saying that that's not gonna help you in a fight. Obviously it is. I'm not saying that sparring boxing isn't gonna help. Obviously it is. But you have to learn how to condition yourself for a fear response and how to condition yourself for blindsides, such as sucker punches, etc., etc. So the myth that we're talking about is any form of martial arts training can help you in a real fight. I'm not sure that it can, and here's the reason. I saw a video recently, for instance, where a person is standing on the edge of a platform, a train platform, and a person comes from behind them and pushes them over right into the tracks. You could have kicked your Thai pads for 100 years straight, nothing could have prepared you for that. You could have strangled Renzo Gracie 25 times, nothing's gonna help you against that person who's pushing you. That 45-year-old man who's a crackhead, who's this skinny, pushed you over, and you know, no matter how much you train, how are you gonna be ready for that? It's the element of surprise, okay? The myth is that true martial arts is gonna help you in those instances, and it's not. In a one-on-one confrontation, in a one-on-three confrontation, martial arts will help you. But when surprised and caught off guard, nothing can help you. You're gonna have to depend solely on your own intuition. When I would go to school in the city and I would see people standing on the edge of the track, I always shook my head. To me, it was senseless. It was senseless. Are you that desperate to get on the train that you're willing to put yourself at that kind of danger? We know people push each other into the train track. So do the things that you know are inherently correct. Trust your own biology. We've evolved to stay alive. You're here and you're watching this video because your ancestors were that damn good. They were able to survive famines. Your ancestors were able to survive plagues, pandemic, many different scenarios. That's why you're here. You didn't just pop up. You're a product of some really durable human beings, and it's because they were smart. They didn't stand on the edge of subways. They didn't walk with their iPad or whatever, their Instagram scrolling with music in their ears. They were sharp, they were ready. Even the dumbest members of your family did something right. So you have to make sure that you're following that great tradition that your ancestors led forward, and you're doing the things you need to do to stay alive. Pay attention to your surroundings at all times. If you know something is risky, don't do it. That's going to give you the advantage. And then when all things are equal, you can use your martial arts training. You can use the things you're learning on this channel to help deal with a person. But you can't do that if you don't give yourself a fair shake of it. Don't put yourself in these dangerous positions. All right, so what we need to also take into account is the idea that things are a lot faster in a real confrontation than what you may imagine in training, or what you may imagine from watching videos online, or what you even experience in the gym. What I mean by that is, as soon as someone punches you in your face, you're shocked from the side, you're not sure what's going on, there's a fear freeze thing, and then if you do engage that person in fight and you've never fought before, things are gonna feel like they're going a million miles a minute. You're gonna get tired very quickly, you're gonna become overwhelmed very quickly, and you're gonna find that it feels almost like you're in a hyperloop where things are just going super fast. These are things that if you've never fought before, it's hard to really prepare for these things, okay? Especially if you're getting blindsided. So let's take away, so in other words, how can we prepare ourselves for that sort of a speed enhance? What can we do? One of the first things we can do is we can first start to internalize and accept the fact that things are going to be different when you experience this. So take away their advantage. Don't stand at the edge of subway trains. Don't walk with headphones in your ears. Try to avoid looking down and scrolling while you're in densely populated areas. Understand that if someone's going to attack you, it's going to be to your disadvantage. You're rarely going to be in a position where things are fair, right? This person's going to come up to you and they're going to say, I want this, give me this. That's an insane person. They're going to blindside you and take the leg out from under you. Then they're going to take what they want. Don't allow them to do this, or at least limit them from being able to do this by staying aware, self-aware and aware of your environment. Once that's done, if the conflict does ensue, you get blindsided or the person tries to attack you, okay? What do? We accept that speed is gonna be different. Speed, intensity, ferocity, emotional component, the psychological component is gonna be different. So you have to be prepared for that. So I hope those ideas help bust the myth that training a specific martial art is in some way gonna actually help you in a real fight, or that it's the end all be all. Of course it's essential, but we need to combine ideas. We need to train as hard as we can. We need to be in good shape. We need to, on one side, be an effective martial artist and competitor. Being competitive really does help, but even just a martial artist, but we also have to accept the fact that the person that's trying to take advantage of us isn't trying to fight us in a sanctioned bout, okay? They're sucker punching you, they're hitting you low, they're pushing you onto train tracks. Sadistic stuff is going on. So you have to be trained and unaware of yourself, but you also have to be aware of your environment. And you have to be aware that the person that's going to take advantage of you on the street is going to take advantage of you when you least expect it. And if you can combine those two things, you're going to be much more ready and much more aware of what may be coming at you in a street fighting self-defense scenario. So if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment below. Make sure you guys check out my other videos above me and subscribe as always. I'll be back with many more videos coming this week.